Most people believe that living past 90 is mostly decided by your genes. They assume that by the time you reach your late 60s or early 70s, the path ahead has already been written. But that is one of the biggest misconceptions I see in older adults. While genetics certainly matter, what you do in the first hour after waking up may have a greater influence on your long-term health than many people realize. What if I told you that some of the healthiest adults I've ever treated shared the same simple morning habits, even though they came from completely different backgrounds? What if I told you that one overlooked morning routine, practiced by surprisingly few people over 65, has been linked with better brain health, stronger hearts, greater independence, and even a longer life? Today, we are counting down 8 morning habits that quietly separate seniors who continue thriving well into their 90s from those who lose strength and independence far sooner than expected. The final habit may surprise you because it has almost nothing to do with expensive supplements, intense exercise, or complicated diets. Yet researchers from major institutions continue to recognize its remarkable connection to healthy aging. Stay with me until the end, because that one could genuinely change how you approach the rest of your life. My name is Dr. Robert Hale, and I have dedicated my entire career to working with adults over 65. Every day I meet people who worry that slowing down is simply an unavoidable part of getting older. But I have also cared for men and women in their late 80s and early 90s who continue walking confidently, thinking clearly, enjoying time with family, and living independently. Their secret is rarely one dramatic change. More often, it is a collection of small daily habits repeated consistently over many years. A landmark study from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health followed more than 123,000 adults for over 30 years. Researchers found that individuals who consistently practiced healthy lifestyle habits experienced dramatically longer life expectancy and more years free from chronic disease. Those healthy habits were associated with years of additional healthy living. Years of additional healthy living. That message deserves repeating, because it reminds us that small decisions made every morning can add up over decades. Before we begin, I would love to know something about you. Drop your age in the comments below. I read every single one. This community means everything to me, and your story matters. Now let's begin with number 8. Here is what most people get wrong about waking up at the same time every day. Many retirees believe that because they no longer have work schedules, it is healthier to sleep whenever they feel like it. They may wake at 6 one morning, 9 the next, and nearly noon on another day. It feels relaxing, but your body often interprets that inconsistency as confusion rather than rest. Think of your body's internal clock as the conductor of a large orchestra. Every organ is an instrument waiting for its cue. Your heart, brain, digestive system, and hormone levels all depend on that conductor keeping perfect time. When your wake-up time constantly changes, it is like replacing the conductor every morning. The music becomes disorganized. Hormones are released at the wrong times. Blood sugar becomes harder to regulate. Energy levels fluctuate. Even your immune system can lose some of its rhythm. Researchers at Brigham and Women's Hospital, affiliated with Harvard Medical School, studied more than 2,000 older adults over several years and found that people with more consistent sleep and wake schedules demonstrated significantly better cardiovascular health, improved metabolic function, and lower rates of chronic disease compared with those whose schedules varied widely. Participants with stable sleep routines also maintained healthier blood pressure patterns and experienced fewer disruptions to their natural hormone cycles. I remember a patient named Margaret, a 72-year-old retired schoolteacher from Columbus. She smiled during our appointment, but admitted something that many retirees quietly experience. "Doctor, every morning feels different now. Some days I wake up refreshed, and other days I feel exhausted before breakfast." Instead of recommending medication, we focused on one simple goal: wake up within the same 30-minute window every single day, even on weekends. She also began opening her bedroom curtains immediately after waking to let natural sunlight reach her eyes. 8 weeks later, Margaret returned looking noticeably different. Her morning energy had improved. She was taking longer walks with her husband. Her afternoon naps had nearly disappeared. Then she said something I have never forgotten: "I finally feel like my body knows what time it is again." The synergy tip here is critical. Pair a consistent wake-up time with at least 10 minutes of natural morning sunlight. That combination helps reset your internal clock, supports healthier hormone production, and prepares your body for deeper, more restorative sleep the following night. Here is what most people get wrong about drinking coffee first thing in the morning. I understand why so many older adults reach for the coffee pot before anything else. The aroma is comforting. The warmth feels inviting. It has been part of their morning routine for decades. But after 7 or 8 hours without water, your body wakes up mildly dehydrated. Coffee is not the best first drink for that situation. Your body needs water before it needs caffeine. Think of your bloodstream as a river delivering oxygen and nutrients to every organ. During the night, that river naturally becomes slightly shallower because you have not consumed fluids for several hours. When the river is lower, your heart has to work a little harder to move everything where it needs to go. Drinking water shortly after waking helps refill that river, making it easier for your heart, brain, and kidneys to do their jobs efficiently. A study from the National Institutes of Health involving more than 4,600 adults aged 65 to 85 followed participants for nearly 6 years. Researchers found that older adults who maintained better hydration had healthier kidney function, more stable blood pressure, and lower rates of hospitalization related to dehydration. They also experienced fewer episodes of dizziness and fatigue, especially during the morning hours. Even mild dehydration was associated with noticeable declines in concentration and physical performance. One of my patients, Harold, a 70-year-old retired mechanic from Phoenix, came to see me because he often felt lightheaded after getting out of bed. He said, "Doctor, I thought this was just part of getting older. Every morning I feel unsteady until I've had 2 cups of coffee." After reviewing his daily routine, we made one simple adjustment. Before touching his coffee maker, he drank a full glass of water and waited about 15 minutes before having his first cup of coffee. Nothing else changed. 6 weeks later, Harold returned with a smile on his face. "I haven't had those morning dizzy spells in weeks. I never imagined a single glass of water could make that much difference." His blood pressure readings had become more consistent, and he felt confident enough to resume his daily neighborhood walks. The synergy tip here is critical. Drink your first glass of water with a healthy breakfast that includes potassium-rich foods such as a banana, plain yogurt, or a few slices of avocado. This combination supports healthy fluid balance and helps your muscles and heart function more efficiently throughout the morning. Number 6. I see this misunderstood constantly, and it genuinely concerns me. Many people believe they need a full hour at the gym to improve their health. If they cannot manage a long workout, they assume there is little point in moving at all. But for adults over 65, one of the most powerful forms of exercise often begins with something much simpler: walking for just a few minutes soon after waking up. Imagine your joints as a sponge. When a sponge sits untouched, it becomes stiff and dry. But the moment you gently squeeze and release it under water, it softens and becomes flexible again. Your joints work in a remarkably similar way. Gentle movement encourages nourishing fluid to circulate through the cartilage, helping your knees, hips, and ankles move more comfortably while also stimulating healthy blood flow throughout your body. Researchers at the University of Sydney followed over 3,500 adults between the ages of 68 and 83 for nearly 8 years. They found that participants who began their day with light physical activity had significantly lower risks of cardiovascular disease, improved balance, and nearly a 30% lower risk of mobility limitations compared with those who remained sedentary during the morning. They also demonstrated better insulin sensitivity, allowing their bodies to regulate blood sugar more effectively throughout the day. I think about a patient named Eleanor, a 74-year-old grandmother from Portland. She quietly admitted during one appointment, "Doctor, once I sit in my recliner after breakfast, it's difficult to get moving again." Instead of asking her to join a fitness program, I suggested something much easier. Every morning before sitting down to read the newspaper or watch television, she would take a gentle 15-minute walk around her neighborhood. When she returned 2 months later, she looked happier and more energetic. She told me, "I'm climbing the stairs without holding the railing now. I even chased my grandson around the backyard last weekend, and I didn't have to stop to catch my breath." Those words meant far more than any laboratory result could. The synergy tip here is critical. Pair your morning walk with slow nasal breathing instead of breathing through your mouth. This simple habit encourages calmer breathing patterns, supports oxygen delivery, and helps prepare your body and mind for the rest of the day. Number 5. Here's what most people get wrong about breakfast. Many older adults believe eating very little in the morning helps them stay healthy. Others skip breakfast entirely because they simply are not hungry. But after the age of 65, your body becomes less efficient at maintaining muscle. Every morning is an opportunity to provide your muscles with the building blocks they need to stay strong and independent. Think of your muscles as the support beams inside a house. The outside of the house may still look beautiful, but if those beams gradually weaken, the entire structure becomes less stable. Muscle loss often happens quietly year after year until everyday activities become unexpectedly difficult. A study from Tufts University involving more than 2,900 adults aged 65 to 84 followed participants for 7 years. Researchers found that individuals who regularly consumed adequate protein during breakfast maintained greater muscle strength, experienced slower age-related muscle loss, and were significantly less likely to develop physical limitations that interfered with independent living. One of my patients, Richard, a 69-year-old retired firefighter from Denver, confessed something many people can relate to. "Doctor, breakfast for me is usually toast and coffee. I figured that was enough." We added simple sources of protein to his morning meal, including eggs, Greek yogurt, and occasionally cottage cheese. We also encouraged him to spread his protein intake throughout the day instead of eating most of it at dinner. 10 weeks later, Richard returned feeling stronger than he had in years. He laughed and said, "I carried every grocery bag into the house in one trip." My wife couldn't believe it, and honestly, neither could I. Small improvements like that often mean the difference between maintaining independence and gradually needing assistance. The synergy tip here is critical. Pair your morning protein with fiber-rich foods such as oats, berries, or whole grain toast. Protein helps preserve muscle while fiber supports blood sugar stability and keeps your energy steady throughout the morning. Before I continue, if this is giving you something your doctor never had time to cover in a 15-minute appointment, I want to ask you to subscribe to this channel right now. Click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. This channel exists for one reason: to give you the science-backed truth about your health, clearly, honestly, and completely. If you know a spouse, brother, sister, or close friend over 65 who wants to stay healthy and independent for as long as possible, please share this video with them. One small habit you learn today could make a meaningful difference in someone else's tomorrow. Number 4. Here is what most people get wrong about keeping their brain sharp. Many older adults believe that memory loss is simply an unavoidable part of aging. They think that forgetting names, struggling to focus, or feeling mentally sluggish is something they just have to accept. While some changes are natural, your brain remains remarkably adaptable well into your 70s, 80s, and even beyond. Think of your brain as a network of highways. Every time you challenge yourself with a new thought, a new skill, or even a meaningful conversation, you strengthen those roads. But when those highways are rarely used, they begin to deteriorate. Traffic slows. Messages take longer to arrive. The good news is that your brain is constantly looking for opportunities to build stronger connections. A study from the University of Exeter involving more than 19,000 adults over the age of 65 followed participants for nearly 10 years. Researchers found that seniors who regularly engaged in mentally stimulating activities demonstrated significantly better memory performance, improved attention, and a slower rate of cognitive decline compared with those who remained mentally inactive. Participants who consistently challenged their minds also maintained greater independence in everyday activities. One of my patients, Linda, a 73-year-old retired librarian from Raleigh, shared a concern that many older adults quietly carry. She looked at me and said, "Doctor, I walk into a room and completely forget why I went there. It scares me." Instead of recommending complicated brain training programs, we started with one simple morning habit. Before turning on the television or looking at her phone, she spent 15 minutes reading something new and then wrote 3 sentences summarizing what she had learned. 8 weeks later, she returned with a smile I will never forget. She said, "I'm remembering conversations again. I feel mentally awake instead of mentally foggy." That confidence was every bit as important as the improvement itself. The synergy tip here is critical. Combine your morning mental exercise with reading it aloud. Seeing the words, speaking them, and hearing your own voice activates multiple areas of the brain simultaneously, strengthening learning and recall. Number 3. I see this misunderstood constantly, and it genuinely concerns me. Many people believe stress only affects their emotions. They assume that feeling worried or overwhelmed is simply part of modern life. But your body does not separate emotional stress from physical stress. Every anxious thought sends signals throughout your heart, blood vessels, immune system, and brain. Imagine cortisol, your primary stress hormone, as the volume dial on a radio. A healthy amount keeps you alert and prepared for the day. But when that volume stays turned up too high for too long, every system in your body begins to work harder than it should. Your heart beats faster, blood pressure rises, inflammation quietly increases. Over months and years, that constant strain adds up. Researchers at Stanford University followed more than 5,000 adults between the ages of 65 and 85 over 7 years. They found that participants who practiced daily stress reduction techniques experienced lower resting blood pressure, improved sleep quality, and significantly reduced markers of chronic inflammation. They also reported better emotional well-being and higher levels of overall life satisfaction. I often think of George, a 76-year-old widower from Nashville. After losing his wife, every morning began with worry. He told me, "Doctor, I wake up already feeling exhausted before the day even starts." Rather than asking him to ignore those feelings, we introduced a 5-minute breathing routine every morning. He sat quietly, inhaled slowly through his nose, and exhaled even more slowly while focusing only on his breathing. 9 weeks later, George returned looking calmer. He smiled and quietly said, "For the first time in years, I feel like I'm in control of my mornings instead of my mornings controlling me." Sometimes the smallest habits create the greatest emotional freedom. The synergy tip here is critical. Pair your breathing practice with a few moments of gratitude. Simply naming 3 things you appreciate can shift your attention away from stress and help prepare your mind for a healthier, more positive day. And now, number 1. The morning habit that fewer than 25% of adults over 65 practice consistently, and which researchers have called one of the most overlooked tools for healthy aging without a prescription. That habit is waking up every morning with a genuine sense of purpose. Many people assume purpose is something you discover only during your working years. They believe retirement marks the end of contributing, achieving, or growing. But I have found exactly the opposite to be true. Some of the healthiest people I have ever cared for were not the busiest. They were simply the people who woke each morning knowing why the day mattered. Think of purpose as the compass guiding a long journey. Your muscles provide the strength to walk. Your heart supplies the energy. Your brain plans the route. But without a compass, even a healthy traveler eventually loses direction. Researchers at the University of Michigan followed more than 6,800 adults over the age of 65 for nearly 12 years. They discovered that individuals reporting a strong sense of purpose experienced significantly lower risks of disability, better mobility, and improved cognitive health compared with those who lacked clear daily purpose. Another landmark study from Rush University Medical Center, involving more than 900 older adults, found that participants with a stronger sense of purpose demonstrated a substantially lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease and maintained healthier cognitive function as they aged, even when other risk factors were present. One patient continues to inspire me whenever I think about healthy aging. Her name was Martha, an 81-year-old grandmother from Charleston. When she first came to see me, she quietly admitted, "Doctor, ever since I retired, every day feels exactly the same. I wake up, but I don't really have anywhere to go." She wasn't seriously ill. Her blood work looked reasonable. Yet she had stopped walking regularly, rarely visited friends, and no longer volunteered at her local library, something she had once loved. We talked for a long time, not about medicine, but about meaning. She decided to return to the library 2 mornings each week, reading stories to young children. She also began taking a short walk there instead of driving whenever the weather allowed. 3 months later, she walked into my office looking like a different person. She smiled before she even sat down. Then she said something that still stays with me. "Doctor, I thought I needed more years in my life." What I really needed was more life in my years. Her energy had improved. She had become more active. She was sleeping better. Most importantly, she once again looked forward to tomorrow. The synergy tip here is critical. Connect your purpose with movement. Walk to visit a friend, garden for someone you love, volunteer somewhere that needs your kindness. When physical activity and meaningful purpose work together, they reinforce each other in ways that benefit both the body and the mind. As a physician, I want you to remember something deeply important. Growing older is not simply about adding candles to a birthday cake. It is about preserving your ability to live the life you want. to walk to your mailbox without fear, to remember every grandchild's name, to prepare your favorite meal, to laugh so hard at the dinner table that your eyes begin to water. Those moments are what healthy aging is truly about. Too often, society speaks about aging as though life is winding down. I do not believe that. Every year brings new opportunities to learn, to love, to encourage others, and to discover strengths you never realized you had. Your future is not determined by your age alone. It is shaped by the choices you continue making every single day. It is never, ever too late to begin. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss future videos designed to help you stay healthy, independent, and active for years to come. Now, I would love to hear from you. Which of these 8 morning habits are you already practicing? And which one will you start tomorrow morning? I will read every single response. This community is one of the most thoughtful and engaged I have ever been part of, and that is entirely because of you. I am Dr. Robert Hale. Take good care of yourself because you are worth the effort.